Distinguished scientists, my young friends, and it has been a wonderful inauguration. We had an excellent start this morning, and it was a great pleasure to release these two books. Both deal with important topics, science policy. You know, we had a meeting of science advisors in Auckland a couple of years back, and the consensus there was there are two kinds of policies: relationship between policy and science. Policy for science and science for policy. Any policy decision taken by the government has to be based on scientific evidence. And we must also, particularly in developing countries, take policy decisions on what areas to emphasize at any point of time. So I'm very glad that Professor Sopti and Dr. Venkateswara have written this book. And the second book, which I also will refer to in my introductory remarks, is this importance of enhancing academia-industry interactions. In the chain, research, development, and delivery, academic institutions are good in research, industry is good in delivery, and both are weak in development, and this need to enhance this academia-industry interfaces is very important. It's in all countries, whether it's developed or developing. And these interfaces have to be technology sector specific. Now, we have in India today a very well-structured S&T system, and which has operated very successfully. Mission-oriented agencies, scientific departments, which also run institutions in their own domain, and also support research in the university system. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more about them during this session. As Prime Minister said this morning, government is interested in setting up an excellent ecosystem for higher education, research, and innovation. Assuming that adequate funds are available, even if adequate funds are available, of course we want more funds. Apart from that, we should also have, which is a necessary condition to have adequate funds, otherwise how can you do research and development? And we need this excellent R&I ecosystem. And this ecosystem requires firstly talented young people, and then there are the gifted, talented and gifted. Talented are those whose innate abilities have already been expressed in achievements. Gifted are those where this has not yet happened. How to identify the gifted? And in fact, we have a project in our office on identifying and nurturing gifted children in maths and science, run by Department of University of Delhi and by NIAS. For talented young people, there is the Inspire program of the DST, and we need world-class universities, research universities, and more generally, improvement in higher education backed by high-quality school education, which nurtures creativity. Prime Minister talked about how to pull together geographically neighborhood institutions, national labs, universities, and schools, so that they can synergize and bootstrap themselves up. We need leaders in science with appetite for risk-taking. If you don't take risks, you cannot ever do high-quality research. You can do safe research, publishable in good journals, and this risk-taking aptitude or attitude of scientists must also be supported by the system and the audit system or the funding system, because we should also have the stomach for occasional failures. People realize when you attempt to do high quality research, occasionally there are going to be failures. We need to build world-class research facilities. Whenever we build such facilities, we have found that it also attracts not only the faculty from India, but faculty from faculty from abroad. Take the nanoelectronics science and engineering center and in Indian Institute of Science or IIT Bombay, not only do a dozen departments use the nanofab facilities, but it has also attracted people from abroad, young faculty from Stanford and Cornell and IMAC Belgium, which are the main centers for nanoelectronics. And such facilities also have the case of nanoelectronics, and this is what we should have. Not only we should have world-class facilities, but it should be accessible to all people. There is a national users program. An excellent R&D ecosystem must have a good infrastructure, including an e-infrastructure. And today we have the National Knowledge Network operated by the National Informatics Center, built by them, and an excellent optical fiber network connecting 1,600 institutions in the country. I'm sure it includes SV University, all national labs. All universities are connected by this. And because such a high-speed network, scalable, the backbone is now in gigabit, tens of gigabits, but we will raise it to hundreds of gigabits, and that is extremely important. And this national knowledge network is already connected to the European Union grid and international grids like the Internet too. And we have POPs, as we call points of presence, in Amsterdam. We have it in Singapore. We'll soon have it in New York and other places. As Prime Minister said this morning, India is a very large country. Its technology needs range from nuclear and space and defense research to rural technologies. And this is something we should all be concentrating. Number of departments are trying to do this. Rural technology development and delivery. We have the RUTAG program from our own office, which is centered in seven IITs. This is what we call a very open platform innovation strategy. 3 mission-oriented agencies. Defense is represented here. You're going to have separate sessions on space and nuclear. And we hear with great pleasure when you have these successes. Yesterday we had Agni 4 launch by the user agency, the Strategic Forces Command. A couple of weeks back, Agni 5. And we have, whenever there are, ISRO, for instance, 75 commercial satellite launches from 20 countries. And they have had 32 successive launches using their robust Polar satellite launch vehicle. Now, of course, they used to use the French Space Agency for their geostationary satellite launch. Now they have developed their own capabilities. On nuclear, I quote a statement made by the former chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, R.K. Sinha, on 2014 the General Conference, and it says, on August 6, 2014, the Unit 5 of the Rajasthan Atomic Power Station achieved a record of 765 days of continuous operation, the highest in the world in the last 2 decades, and the second highest in the history of nuclear power. Safety and operational efficiency go together. Unless the system has been well designed and built, it will never be able to have this operational efficiency, and that automatically reflects on the question of safety. And the Director General of IAEA, Yuki Amano, said in a speech a couple of years back that India is at the forefront of technology developments in the nuclear sector, particularly in the fast reactors and related fuel cycles. That's what we mean by closing the nuclear fuel cycle, which is important in the context of the climate change threat. Nuclear and, of course, renewables. Nuclear is accepted as a mitigation technology in the context of the climate change threat. But if it is to be a sustainable mitigation technology, you have to close the nuclear fuel cycle. All energy options are important for India. Next 20 years, we'll be burning coal, but you must have advanced ultra-supercritical thermal plant so that you have steam at higher temperature, higher efficiency. For the same power, you reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that you emit. Renewable energy, a lot of research is going on in order to improve the efficiency. And we must have the complete supply chain from polysilicon to the solar panels. Prime Minister Modi and the French President Hollande have started in the Paris Climate Change Meet on the International Solar Alliance, and in order to collaborate, in order to bring together people working in this field so that we derive maximum benefit from this energy source. We have the National Center for Photovoltaic Research and Education, IIT Bombay, and then we have the Sirius program, which is in Institute of Science and NREL Colorado, which is really a solar energy research institute. Of course, all these, when we talk about solar, space and nuclear, there are also concurrent sustainable development programs. We know communication, then water resource development, radiation preservation of food, and so on. All these are concurrent spin-off benefits because we have these mission-oriented programs. See, it's a fact today the mobility of scientists is continuously increasing, and collaboration has become very important. See, when we talk of self-reliance, many years back I used to say, when I was director of BRC, that self-reliance is not trying to do everything yourself, but immunity against technology denial. Today, international collaboration, to which Prime Minister and the Minister for Science were also referring to, today's India wants international collaboration on an equal partner basis. I was mentioning about the ISRO program. There is a Nuclear Energy Institute run by the Department of Atomic Energy. Now, UNESCO has designated the Indian Tsunami Early Warning Center of the Department of Earth Sciences as a regional service provider for all countries in the Indian Ocean Rim. Department of Science and Technology have excellent collaborative programs which has been made use of a large number of scientists in the university system. They have the Indo-French Center for Promotion of Advanced Research and this Indo-US Science and Technology Forum, for example. There, the Department of Biotechnology has established this very interesting twin laboratory paradigm. They have got the Indian lab, and they have also got this lab in Tsukuba, Japan, which sister labs. Both labs are interacting strongly, both are more or less identical. Similarly, some facilities we can build. Of course, we have GILT, for example, contributed to the Large Hadron Collider, $40 million worth of superconducting corrector magnets, which has been a big thing in this $4 billion project. And synchrotron radiation source Indore is now working very well. But if you want to use other sources, for example, like in Grenoble, European synchrotron radiation source, then you can do it using programs developed by DST and DBT. In fact, DST is a program we have built a beamline in the photon factory in Tsukuba. So this is the world of tomorrow, international collaborations. But I said before, today's India is able to do this on an equal partner basis. We are not looking for a donor-beneficiary relationship. Now, of course, now because of the connectivity, you can even access some of these facilities. European synchrotron radiation source facility is accessed by our protein crystallographers sitting in Bombay or Bangalore or Calcutta. As I said before, we want a knowledge economy for which we want an advanced technology superstructure. All these things we talked about, excellent applied research, excellent technology development, R&D-led innovation backed by manufacturing skills. But we must also remember that the foundation for this is provided by university-based basic research. Of course, it can also be based in the national labs. So basic research, including what I have called directed basic research, not applied research, is also so important.